Jennifer, good morning.
Good morning, Dee.
Welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Most welcome. Show number 1, episode number 1.
What a pleasure
How do you
to
feel?
be able to do it. I feel very excited,
right.
very ready, and looking forward.
Right. So just to give you a quick brief and to everyone who's listening and watching, we're the Luxbridge International Realty Show for our podcast. And what we're trying to do here is decode the dream. Because everyone who comes to the UAE and Dubai has a dream, just like you and I have and had. And we want to understand from your perspective, how did you go about decoding the dream from Jennifer's lens and how she progressed? So shall we jump in?
Why not?
Okay, here we go. Question number 1. Your calling, which is where obviously we met on Instagram, right? Fitness. Did your calling find you or did you find your calling?
It's such a great question. I believe I found my calling. And I found it at such a young age, but I didn't follow through on that calling. And this is where, as I go back and thinking what I know now, we can't always say, I wish I knew then, but it was always a gut feeling that I loved fitness and I loved movement. But from the age of 6, when you have that feeling and it feels good, and then you get older and then you're in high school and then you're ready to graduate, you want to please your family and do the right thing. And I moved more into marketing. So I graduated with a marketing degree and minored in communications and public relations. But I'm looking back, and I was in the corporate world for over 10 years. It served me so well that I finally got to connect in my later 30s to my real true passion, which was fitness. Because I've loved movement my whole life, even from a young age. And then I've been very privileged to be able to do that and what I do now for over 15 years now as I transitioned.
So 15 years, you've transitioned from corporate life to fitness. So that's a very personalized way of presenting yourself to your clients, giving them what they need, a better way of life, which is what everyone's looking for right now. So as a fitness influencer, and because there's many of us out there, what are the common myths one understands about this industry and which you think is so common? Could you tell us one at least?
Well, if you want to move into this industry, you definitely need to have the right education. I've seen a few personal trainers that are out on the market with no certification. They haven't done their first aid or the CPR, and people are not aware of that. So they're going in. It's not an industry for everybody because you are putting someone's life or lifestyle in a position of maybe injury or not doing the best intention for them. So I really believe the myth is that you can really find any personal trainer, but I don't believe that's true. You definitely need to find someone with experience. And the myth of everyone can be a personal trainer, you really need the education and the experience to be a good personal trainer, because I do agree, everyone can be a personal trainer, everyone can teach fitness, but you have to also have a passion for it.
Let me just take this point up, and we'll talk about it further down. Everyone can be a realtor, right?
I like that.
But very few really go out there and do it with passion and know what they're doing and improve on themselves. So we'll catch up on that.
That's a great one. That's how you and I aligned right now.
That's
is
exactly
making
how
a lot of sense.
Exactly, right? We come from different industries. I'm corporate too. I was in banking, transitioned to realty, and here we are talking about it. So it's going to be an interesting journey down the road. By the way, very quickly, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Wonderful, wonderful time, wonderful month to be doing all this.
It is.
Quite a memorable start, yeah?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. What's one career highlight which has stayed with you?
Adding value to people's lives, seeing the joy in their eyes, and especially when they get the results, and know that I'm there because I care for the outcome. So I think the biggest career highlight has really been, and seeing it come to fruition, adding value to the clients. Because I've had a long standing and not much of a turnover. I've had clients from 15 years ago still with me. And when they've left, they've come back saying, you add a different kind of value that I'm not really finding in anyone else. So hearing that, that's definitely got to be my number one career highlight.
And every highlight sometimes has a setback. So what's your process for coming back from a setback? Because that's important too, right? When we decode the dream, right? That's the important part about decoding. We learn more from our failures than our success. We've often heard that.
The way I look at it, and I have this really strong belief system that any setback is a teaching, and it's here to teach us a lesson. Now, if I'm going to feed it energy or give a setback power, then I'm not really growing from it or learning from it. So for sure a setback is there to teach me something. I learn from it and I grow from it and I move and I just expand myself from it. I don't allow it to hold me down. If anything, I climb that mountain of that setback and I just reach right on over.
So do you have any particular one you could share with us? Maybe an injury you had or a client who said or whatever, and then you come over?
That's good, actually. Couple of times I've had experiences where a setback would be a client didn't get the results they wanted to get.
Right.
So that disappointed me because I was delivering all the tools necessary for that client to succeed. But as I look back on it, I think to myself, well, the client wasn't really following or being very honest. So in that setback, I tried to put disclaimers in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You need the discipline. You need to come in and do the work.
Right.
So I think that would really be the only way I would tackle that setback and come from it.
The learning from this would be setting your expectations correctly.
Yes.
A quick background about your family. How many kids you have?
Okay. I have 3 grown daughters now.
Lovely.
The oldest is 23.
Right.
Lauren is 19 and Emma is 17. And
the
2
oldest is
are
Jada.
in Sydney. The oldest is Jada.
Right.
Yep.
Shout out to all 3 of them. And of
Hi,
course,
girls.
And of course, Mr. C himself.
Yes, my support, my love.
So that's
He's
your
been
husband we're talking
wonderful
about.
through all of this. Yeah, my husband Elias.
Your husband Elias, right. Oh, I see a lot of him on the videos.
Yeah.
Right, in the cold plunge.
Like I said, he's very supportive in everything that I do.
And he's a good sport.
It's helped me grow and expand and evolve to where I am today with his full support.
Also part of the decoding system, right? You have a team.
Yeah.
It's Team Chalouhi.
That helps
right?
your dream evolve, yes.
Right. Because you know it's possible, right? So there's this wonderful story you shared with me earlier. If you could just tell us about it, how both of you came into Dubai very young, and then because there's a lot of people who, as we speak, we've got millions of people coming to the airport, right? 40 odd million that came in this year.
Yeah.
So what's that about? How does that journey?
We
turn
met
out?
in our 20s.
Right.
It was a summer vacation in Lebanon. We're both Lebanese.
Right.
We're first generation Lebanese. He was born in Australia.
Nice.
I was born in Canada, but raised in Florida, Orlando, Florida.
There you are.
We met on a summer vacation. He was spending a summer in Lebanon. I went over with my parents spending a summer.
There you go.
We met just by chance.
Of course.
Literally by chance in cars passing.
Oh.
So it's a long story, so I'm just going to go straight to the point. When we met, I had 6 days left that I was staying in Lebanon.
Okay.
We connected.
As
we
one does.
immediately fell in love.
There you go.
I went back to university. He went back to Australia.
Right.
And we just started planning our future literally right then and there after 6 days.
Amen.
He flew from Sydney to Orlando.
Okay.
We got engaged, and in 2 years we got married. So I was 23 at the time. He was 25, 26 at the time.
Right.
We literally sat down and planned our future on paper.
There we go.
Planned everything.
Keeps coming back, doesn't it? On paper.
Yeah.
On paper. To anybody who's looking and is listening, even for me, if it's not on paper.
And for 2 people that were so young.
Exactly.
But I think we had a great foundation. We had great parents that gave us the foundation of
Knock on wood.
save. Work smart. Save smart, spend wisely.
Right.
And that's what we did. We had that intention from the very beginning. And we still lived very, very abundantly.
Of course.
Very happy. We had a lot of friends. We'd go out. But we were always looking at life as, okay, we're going to save a little here so that we can buy that then. So we were very smart. We were just smart from the very beginning.
Right.
And there's no better time to do that in your 20s. Your 20s is the best time to do that.
Perfect segue into our next question, right? The relationship that you have with money. Because after all, we're all about, as a realty company, we're all about, and I'm personally about people managing their money correctly and advising them. And also learning how people of every generation and through the generations have managed their money to achieve their goals. So your relationship with money and how you and your family sat through the process.
Well, I believe through experiences and everything, I think the more you hold on to money, the more you're going to lack money. So I had to open up a gateway from within to release any attachment I had towards money to be able to see more money coming in.
Right.
And I think it's a process and it's a practice that you learn as you get older.
Process and practice. Interesting.
Yeah, and you hear this often. Try not to hold on to your money. To make money, you have to spend money. So I started, evolving with my husband, learning that concept, that you don't always have to save money. You have to spend it. You have to invest it. So I look at money differently now than I did back then. Back
Okay.
then it was save, save, save. What if something happens to it?
Right, of course.
Being a Lebanese background, what if something happens to it?
Right.
I release that fear. So any fear you have towards money,
Of course.
you're going to lack it. So
Right.
now I have this feeling towards money. Not only does it give me freedom,
Right.
but it gives me more abundance when I have no attachment anymore towards it.
Towards it, right?
And I trust it will come.
Of course.
It'll always come.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
It's a tool. It's a ways to a means.
Just like a car is a tool.
Right.
The clothes
exactly.
we wear is a tool to leave the house.
Yeah.
Our office, it's
Right.
a tool to get things done.
To get things
Money
done.
is a tool to get things done,
Interesting.
to own things,
Right.
to enjoy things, to live life the way it was meant to be lived through abundance and bliss and joy.
Very, very true. And speaking of bliss and joy, there's nothing like a home, okay, where you obviously, home sweet home, right?
Absolutely.
So, if I understand correctly, obviously coming with 3 kids and your family and all moving into the UAE, you obviously looked at dropping anchor and building some roots in the country. So, what was your way towards figuring out what assets you want in life? Not just a car, but maybe a house and so on and so forth. Walk us through that.
We wanted a long-term investment, something that when we're older, we don't have to work full-time anymore.
Right.
And we can reap the benefits of property ownership.
Jennifer, coming to our question, now you've got a good relationship with money, right? You use it as a tool. So how have you used that money to drop anchor in the country in terms of assets or properties that you've bought?
We knew it would be the right investment long-term. It's as simple as that. And I think property ownership or investing hard-earned money in something that you'll reap the benefits in later on in life, it's a win-win situation. And that's why we made the decision to definitely anchor ourselves here, not only in Dubai, in other countries as well.
Oh, so other countries would be such as
Australia, Florida.
Right, all the spots that you call home.
Yeah, and all the spots that if people follow me on Instagram, they see. I'm always jet setting to so many different places.
Yes,
We
you
have
are.
family in Australia. That's where my daughters are studying in university. I have my parents residing in Orlando, Florida, and 3 brothers, and we're all into property investment. So we have each other to lean on so that we're able to make the right decisions when we want to anchor even outside of the UAE.
Speaking of decision making, again, let's step into that next question with that perfect segue. What is your process to say choosing, I want to buy this property?
We have a process.
Yes.
Firstly, we need to hear about the market. Secondly, we always have someone that lives there or family, so we can ask them, what is it like living in this neighborhood? Do you recommend another up-and-coming neighborhood that for long term would be a great investment for us? So we always go back to family, and over 25 years, we've had property ownership, and it all started back to family, and they've never trailed us wrong. So we were the lucky few. We're one of the lucky few that we actually rely on, more so family, and then we move to relying on our realtors to help us find the right home for us. But it's environment. It's a feeling as well. And we visit. We like to visit the area we're going to invest in. We want to feel it.
I agree. Family, which is close connections, close ties, people who've done it before, right? People who have your back. And then realtors, right? Now, realtors play a big part in most people's lives when it comes to making these choices, bigger than one would think they do, right? So what is your mindset and or process, if I may say so, on deciding, I like to work with this person and I think I can get the most from this person? How would you go about that?
Experience, charisma, integrity, honesty, and did I get a good vibe from that person? It really plays a good role. And did they make me feel like family? I really believe that plays a good role in deciding. We've met with several realtors in our lives, and we always come down to, I like that one. And when we like someone, we stick to that person, and they've never failed us wrong. So it's definitely those traits and those characters. Experience and workmanship.
So experience, giving you the right vibe, right? Something intangible about the person. Knowledge, most likely.
100%. Knowledge. They have to know what they're selling. They have to know the area. They have to give us numbers. We have to know. It has to also, he or she, as a realtor, has to be a good listener. Did they listen to exactly what we wanted? Whether it's a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom. We want something close to the beach. We want space. We want storage. All the things and then they come in, or we go and look at a house and we're like, It's over our budget. You didn't hear what I said. We want it completely white. We want it already renovated. These are the few qualities that we look for to make it an easy sale.
Right. So it's less harrowing for you, if I may say so. Right? It's stressful as it is buying a house.
It is, by the way. Because you want to make the right choice. Your money, your hard-earned money, needs to go to the right place for that long-term investment, which is where we are, which we see into our future. It's a long-term. It's not something that we have like money to just throw around. We take this very seriously when we want to buy something.
Of course. And the phrase long-term keeps coming.
Yeah.
And it ties into your life as a fitness influencer also, if I may say so, right? It's a process. It's long-term. You have to keep at it, right? And like one develops their body and their mind, the same, which are assets.
Yeah, your investment develops as well.
Exactly.
I like that, your assets, yes.
And yes, you are trying to tell us that it's a harrowing process, okay? It's difficult as it is. There's a lot at stake, okay?
Yes.
So it helps if people of my industry, folks from my industry, come in prepared, right?
Correct.
They give you the opportunity to speak openly, put your thoughts on the table. And then do you come in with a time frame that I need to buy this property, or usually how does it work for you?
We look at the market. If the markets keep going up, we're like, we need to make a close as soon as possible because the rates are going to keep increasing. It depends at the time you're wanting to buy. So I think 5 years ago, we were looking to buy a property in Australia. At the time, it wasn't right. It was going way too high. We waited it out. And now we just closed in on something last summer in Sydney.
Congratulations.
We waited at the right time. It was still high, but it wasn't as high as it was a couple years ago. So you have to really think through the decision and wait for the right time. There's never really a right time. When we bought in the UAE at the bubble, I think it was around 2007, 2008, the bubble was so high. The bandwagon, everyone was jumping on board, buying. The prices were ridiculous. I was so desperate and excited. I learned from that experience that I pushed my husband. I'm like, you got to buy. We're a family of 3. I don't want to be in an apartment anymore. We got to buy. So he bought. Not at the right time. I learned from that experience. Now I go in with ease. Right. I do my research. I study the market, and we wait. And when we see a good deal, we jump on it.
So when you say jump on it, and of course, that's how you pull the trigger, what, from a family point of view, attracted you? Because a little while ago, you correctly mentioned that all your family in all the 3 countries that we're talking about, more or less continents, are in real estate. So what attracted you to real estate investing versus any other investing?
It's a great outcome in the end, I believe. It's a great outcome. It's a great retirement. Easy money coming in later if we're renting out these properties. Once you pay off the mortgage, you can kind of sit back and reap the benefits. That's how I see it. And that's how my dad taught me. That's how my husband's father taught him as well. Get into property investment. You'll reap the benefits in your late 50s and 60s. Pay it off as soon as possible, as quickly as you can. And then have them rented out. That's how we do our property investment. We rent them out. Okay. That covers all the expenses.
The costs.
And then you have this property. You can either one day decide to sell it, either make the money you put in or make even a bit more,
of course,
or a lot more after 25 years of owning property.
Right.
And then you just reap the benefits. So the end goal is reaping the benefits from this long-term. It's a big investment. I mean, I don't go lightly saying this. We've been doing this for 25 years now. And something I don't talk about on social media, I'm more on the fitness side. But behind the scenes and as a mom and, our family and our growing family, 3 grown daughters, we want them to come back home to something. And they want them to see that we've put the time and the effort and the hard work to owning property. So our daughter, our oldest right now, has worked so hard, already saved a lot of money during university. And already we're telling her, now's your time to start looking into buying a studio or a 1-bedroom apartment at the age she's in right now as a long-term investment. So we're now passing it on to our kids.
Right.
There's a benefit to be reaped.
Generational wealth of knowledge and generational wealth of assets as being passed down.
Yeah.
And you firmly believe in that?
I firmly believe in it. Right. Absolutely.
And
I can't wait to buy more. I can't wait to buy more.
Amen. And hopefully we can serve you in that journey of yours.
I'm sure you can.
I
Yes.
definitely hope so, and look forward to that too.
I
So,
as well.
skill sets. Let's touch upon that. What would you say are the one or two or maybe three skill sets an individual needs in general in this day and age, given we're in 2024, there's so much of social media about, right? There's
Okay.
so much of in information coming in,
I agree.
right? So how do you sift through that? And what are the skill sets that would be very useful on the table now?
I hope we can see these as skill sets, but I look at this. You need passion, you need a belief system, you need a drive, you need discipline. You need these skills. And the world is filled with a lot of noise if you're going to watch the news and the media and get distracted. So if you allow distractions into your life, you're not going to be able to hold on to the skills that's going to allow you to create the dream life that you want. So I think the biggest skill has to be discipline, drive, passion. You have to hold on to those and you have to believe in them and don't allow the noise to come in and cave that down or create more noise on top of that. So clear out the noise, work on your skills, and it all starts from passion, instinct, education, knowledge, experience, and then putting yourself in a place where you're gaining the knowledge you need. Yeah.
Very interesting. So I'm going to take this away from in terms of skills. Number one, knowledge. Educate yourself as much as you can in whatever field that you're in, first and foremost. Number two, a skill set would be discipline, because that's something you can obviously develop. Right? It could be something that you're like waking up every morning saying, this is what I'm going to do. This is how it's going to be done. By the end of the day, this has to be achieved, right?
Correct, yeah.
So, and all of this drives you to a point where you can say, all right, now I have clarity, right, to take the call. It's not always going to be 100%. But close enough, right? At least you've ticked all the boxes. You don't feel. How do you handle regret, if there is any? Or again, it's an offshoot of the question: how do you handle setbacks? But in investments or in any such thing, if there's a regret, then how do you maneuver around
We've
it?
had that. You just learn from it.
Learn from it.
You can't sit in it. You learn from it, and you allow it to teach you the lesson, not to repeat it. So I don't like repeating. If I have a regret, it will not be repeated again. You entirely learn from it.
Interesting. How big, all right, of a portfolio, say for example, if it's $100 portfolio, right, for ease of calculation, how many dollars would you allocate to real estate investment?
80%.
Wow, amazing.
I think that's our biggest.
That's a big thing.
That has been our biggest drive from the moment we got married.
Right.
80%.
80%, $80 out of 100.
Yeah. And now we're enjoying, because of this time and effort and hard work we've put into investing in property ownership and homes, we can now enjoy 20%, which is travel and living and helping our children, become better versions of themselves as well, and expanding their career paths to be successful as well. And we're giving them that drive.
You're passing it on again.
Yeah.
But that's a huge chunk of change, isn't it?
I think so. Now that I look back and answering it at 80%,
Right.
I don't even think it was 50%. It had to have been 80%,
So
because that
it
was
grew
our
to
drive.
that.
It grew to that, yeah. And when we started out, that was just our first intention. We're going to work really hard. We have 2 salaries coming in. What are we going to do with this money we're earning? Let's put it towards even mutual funds. Like we have even savings account,
Of course.
which we know is going to serve us.
Of course.
And we want to enjoy life. Like we worked hard enough for it. We're
course.
still quite young, and we're
course.
actually enjoying it now.
Of
We're not
course.
waiting till 70.
Of course.
Yeah.
No harm in doing that. Having said that, to each his own. But obviously, you kick-started earlier. So I think that's a good takeaway, right? The sooner you start, right, the far more experience you get. Experience for better or for worse gives you clarity, if you learn from it, of course.
Yes.
And then when you further down the road write the poetry of your life or the prose of your life, that prose can be written very eloquently, right? So suffice to say then that you are able to then, again, pass it down to the generations, share it with friends. So do you sit together with friends and discuss this, like the way forward, or just like the way you plan a client's way forward? So,
Yeah, we do. We do have like-minded friends. A lot of other couples that are in the same mindset that we're in have children as well in university, same age group. And we do, to answer that question, yes. We sit and we talk about, we have friends in California. We talk about the home that they purchased, and now their daughters are saving enough to be able to purchase their first home.
Wow.
So we surrounded ourselves with that same mindset. And I think that's what's kept us on this straight, narrow road to stay focused and not allow any noise coming in to distract us from that. Okay, you will have naysayers that say, you know, that's a tricky market. You could lose money. What if you buy and it becomes not a good buy and you lose? And we just didn't listen. We followed our own streak.
Well, there's always an up. And if there's an up, there's a down, right? No one can really predict anything. It's just you choose your time and you go both feet in.
And that's a key word. You can't predict this.
Right,
it's a risk, but to make money, you have to spend money, and it all takes risks.
All takes the risk. And so when we say we're trying to decode the dream, right? Everyone who's anyone comes in, especially to Dubai, has a wonderful dream. The city's beautiful. It serves up every opportunity, right? So if I were new, right, today in 2024, I'm fresh off the boat, so to speak, what are the few tips you would give me over a cup of coffee to tell me, okay, D, this is what I would do, and I would set your course to this way. So I would love to point due north, but even if I'm not pointing due north, at least I know I'm setting my courses right. So what would you give me as a tip?
A clear intention. What are your intentions?
Nice.
A clear, a job. Where do you, even if it's a job that'll open a door to other jobs. So we've had friends that come in from Lebanon, even very young, and they don't want the job that we're saying, you know, this company's hiring. Yeah, but I don't want that. I said, just get to Dubai, put your foot in the door, and it starts from there, baby steps.
Baby steps.
So have a clear intention. That first clear intention is get a salary. Get something that's going to have a foundation towards your future. From that foundation, you start building. You build, you build, you build. Then you'll be able to clear your intention even more and start looking for what you really want. But you need to get that foot through the door, right? I mean, even as I started as a personal trainer, my first job was at Fitness First. I had to work 40 hours to become a certified, qualified personal trainer. I didn't want to work at Fitness First, but I decided I have to start somewhere. I got to get my foot through the door. That was in 2009. I am so glad I did those 40 hours.
There you go.
And the whole while I did it, my intentions became even more clear. I can do this.
Respect to Fitness First, respect to giving you for them giving you an opportunity.
Sorry, I gave you a plug.
There you go. But yeah, you're right. So clear intention, right? A clear intention then drives your next baby step forward.
Absolutely.
Okay. And furthermore to a clear intention, when you climb slowly, okay, if I may take a page from your book, or your playbook, so to speak. So I have a clear intention. I know what I want, okay, in terms of at least the immediate few steps, right? And I start saving smartly, right? And then I pay attention to what's going on in the market, but I don't let the noise overcome me and overwhelm me. And pursuant to that, I'm then able to formulate a plan, you would say?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And write it down. Write down your plan. Even if you're in a job that you're not entirely feeling fully fulfilled in. Write down what you want. You want, and I promise you, it'll come. It'll come when you trust it and you believe it. Amen. And write it down, visualize it.
Right.
Yeah, visualizing is really one skill, and it just helps you move forward more. When you write it down and you visualize it.
You know, that's so fantastic, because can we also rephrase this by saying decoding the dream is in your mind living the dream?
Yeah.
Right? If you live in it as if it's actually happening in the present.
And that's the law of attraction.
That's the law of attraction.
Manifesting.
That's how you
much
manifest.
faster when you are already living in it.
When you're in it, right?
Before you even have it, but it's already there.
How many times have we had this podcast ever since we've met? It was living in it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like we've already done this before, because it's coming out so naturally and effortlessly.
Amen. Yeah. Deja vu. So intention leads to some sort of hope, leads to you writing down your goals leads to clarity. And of course, smart moves after that, because you align yourself with your purpose or your thoughts, and then afterwards you surround yourself with the right people.
Absolutely.
Right? Your vibe and your tribe.
And you can learn and ask the right questions and learn even more and move forward from that.
I would say that asking questions is more than 50% of the job, because if you ask the wrong question, you get the answer that you ask for, right?
Correct.
So I think I've learned more from all of you in terms of not just your replies, but how do you pose the question? Because only if you have clarity can you pose it correctly. And when you pose it correctly, the other person then can give out what they need to give out.
Correct answer, exactly, that you want to hear or you need at the moment.
At the moment. Very, very true. So in this whole process, okay, especially in a tricky market, okay, which people step in with much trepidation, so to speak, which is real estate, and there's a lot of buzz about it. There's always going to be a buzz about it, right? Everyone needs a place to stay.
And where to buy and where to choose.
Where to buy,
the
where
location
to choose,
and
how to choose, right? So how much of it is you driving around Dubai, meeting family members or friends at a place on a weekend and saying, I like this community. I would like to go further into this. Versus how much is it about you reading or someone telling you? So how does that pan out for you?
Definitely by word of mouth. And I, because I've done it, I need to go to the location. I need to feel it. I need to assess it. I need to look around. Is this family oriented? Is this more single? Is this a bachelor area? And we ended up more leaning always towards family areas, because a family always needs a home. You can never go wrong with that investment.
Never go wrong with that investment. That's
we
true.
ask questions. Is there a market nearby? Is there a school nearby? Is there a gym nearby? What is the community like? All these questions you have to ask, because then you get even more closer to that dream of owning that home. Because then you start to see everything you really want before purchasing a home is surrounding that home. And it makes you more inclined to decide on purchasing it. So it has to definitely be more than word of mouth, advice from other people that live there, people that have been there longer than you in that environment or in that subdivision or in that location.
Right.
You learn a lot from that. Is it a busy street? Is there a school zone? Is there going to be traffic? Are you out of your subdivision as quick as possible so you can start your day? How far is it from, if you're going to be living there, how far is it from your job? So much plays a role in this decision.
Right.
And I would definitely go back to asking people that already live there. When we were in Sydney, actually, we had neighbors walking out because they saw us. We're like, so what do you think of this neighborhood? I've been living here for 25 years. And how do you like, I will never leave this. This is neighborhood of love. And I was like, we're sold. That was it. It's just the way that the love was shown on this neighborhood enticed us even more.
Right.
So it's that type of information that comes our way that makes us more inclined to decide, is this the place we want to invest in?
That's a good adjective, entice.
Yeah.
That's a very good. That's not oft used in my line of work.
In real estate, yeah.
Right, in real estate. It's always about attract. But
entice.
Entice comes from attracting somebody, but then making them feel one with the project or the property. And then
you're pulled.
Exactly. Yeah. You feel connected. You feel this works for me.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that would also work with the same kind of vibe would work with obviously the realtors that you would like to work with, the team that you would like to work with. Okay, this is going to be my go-to team. I trust these people.
Yep.
Here's a process. While the process is not very difficult, it is a process nevertheless.
Yes.
Right. That's a great adjective to bring in. Entice. So to further that thought, when you feel, say, enticed, you feel excited, okay, what do you do then? Right, you've seen the property. Yeah, exactly. So how does?
Okay.
Tell us about that moment where you're at the table, and with your advisors, with your family, with your husband, you're at the table. You've done the legwork. You've got the feel. You're enticed. You're ready.
Yep.
What happens
The
then?
next step is, how do we close? We want this without looking too desperate, because when you start to look too desperate, we kind of worry that the realtor will come back with a little bit of a higher price on that property.
Okay.
So we try to go in and say, we like this property. Why don't you let us know what's the next step forward?
Right.
And that's what we do. We try to keep a calm, grounded, not to show too much excitement. That's maybe a tip for some people like us when you go in, a normal family member going in to buy a home and your money is going into a big investment. So the first question we ask is, okay, we're interested. What do we do next? What's the next step? But deep down inside, we're going, how do we close on this ASAP? Because we like it so much.
That is an interesting tip, right? That is an interesting tip. The calm before the storm.
Yeah.
Right?
Stay calm. Exactly. We don't want a storm coming in, and we're like, well, that's not what we went in for.
You're like a swan on the water, but you're
But it's
paddling.
very hard when you have excitement like mine, and I can't contain it.
God
so my
bless.
husband will hold me down. He goes, I'll take care of this.
I got this one. Yeah, I'll take this round.
And I'm like, I want it now.
Of course. No, that's interesting. The reason I probe this question is because a lot of times you come so close to the dream. It could be anything, right? It could be a car. It could be the place to live. It could be the lifestyle that you wanted. But then excitement gets the better of you. And it slips through your fingers, slips through the cracks, so to speak. Right? So my takeaway from your reply is, whoever it may be, once you're at the table, right? Reset. Right? Reset to zero, because, every step of the way, you have reached a platform, reset to zero, and let's start again from there, right? We're not starting afresh, but we're definitely starting new there, right? Discussion number 5, for example. Okay, we like the property. We like to go ahead with it. This is what we're asking for, so on and so forth. And then I'm assuming then you would go ahead and
Sign off.
And
hope for the best, because a lot of things can change. And if it does change, that's the risk you take. It wasn't meant to be. Move on. And that has happened to us in experience.
Exactly.
Something we wanted really bad, we didn't get it. We realized it was not meant to be then. So you could look at it as the universe was saving us for a better property to come our way.
That's an interesting point to bring up. That is a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. What happens, again, going back to setbacks, what happens, yes, I wanted property X. Now I could see myself, okay, but you don't get it. So then you cajole yourself back into saying, look.
You go back to the drawing board. You start all over again, but you keep a positive mindset. So I don't see them as a setback. I see, hold on to that positive mindset, back to the drawing board, and go back in and know that it was meant to be. If this was not meant for you, that was meant to be, move forward.
Nice. Center yourself.
Yep. And what is meant for you will come back to you.
Amen. Amen to that. Absolutely. What is meant for you will come back to you. It's interesting that it is a sort of code, isn't it? Right? Everyone writes their own code.
Yeah.
Everyone writes their own code, or everyone reads the code differently. And it speaks differently to each of you. To me, it might speak something. To you, it might speak something, right?
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, there are a few commonalities in the process, which is no different. You would follow the same steps. I would follow the same steps. My interpretation of it would be different. So to take away or to add, to have just to recap, for example, a few points that you've said. Number 1, your passion didn't find you differently. You found it. The 6-year-old Jen knew what she wanted.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Clarity. Okay. The heavens aligned on that one.
Yep.
Right?
And then mindset. And then drive comes in. And action comes in. Clarity comes in. The inner work comes in. The visualization, the writing down, whether it's journaling or just tasking down certain goals you want to see come into fruition. All of it plays a role. And when you say decoding the dream, we all have this opportunity to play this game. How are we going to play it out? Right? Everyone plays it out differently.
True.
And there's 2 ways to play it out, with a positive mindset or a negative mindset. And if you have that negative mindset, it's not going to play. You can't play the game.
True.
You need to go in and decode that dream with a strong, positive mindset that's going to push you through, drive you forward. So there's 2 people that play this game. And I try to veer towards more positive people with that strong mindset. So I do not get veered off of my lane.
Of course.
I want to stay strong in it and keep moving forward and keeping a positive mindset, even with the setbacks, even with any negative experiences that have come my way. They're all learning. They're all there to teach us something. When you see it that way, it changes your whole
I'm
mindset
going
on
to quickly
life.
bring up, and I want you to tell us the prep that you did yesterday, unbeknownst to me, obviously, okay? Because it sheds light into your personality, which is lovely. Which is exactly what I want people to know about you, about how when I get Jennifer on board, this is the complete package I get on board, which is awesome, by the way. And it's your story to tell, so please.
How did this come into fruition, or what I did the other day to prep for today?
Yeah, what you
Well, first I needed to find out where this location was. I had to check on the parking because the parking in Dubai is horrendous. And I'm one person who likes to be overly prepared. And when I mean overly prepared, I don't consider that like an OCD. I consider that as a beautiful discipline to have. And I teach my children that. Be overly prepared. So I did come here. I wanted to see the color of the set. I wanted to see the location. I wanted to see how much time I would need to get here so that I wouldn't be late. So when I have a task ahead of me, I focus on that one task. I'm trying to practice not multitasking all the time. So the task of today was to be here at 11 a.m. for our podcast, and I needed more information of the location, where to park, so that I could arrive overly prepared and be completely ready for this. And I feel when you can make that practice a daily habit, you can ease through life effortlessly. And you don't have to rush. And then this will give you the opportunity to be more present in the actual task at hand. And I love that feeling.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't have said better. Eloquently put,
Thank you.
well articulated, I must say. We have come to the end of our show. First of all, once again, thank you for being part of our first episode. You were very gracious enough, very generous enough to accept the invitation.
Thank you for
right
having
off
me.
The bat.
The pleasure has been
it was
all
it was a
mine.
privilege, genuinely. The privilege is all ours, and you've recapped everything perfectly, all the qualities, which is and the reason I asked you to give me the last example was to showcase the fact that you actually live and practice what you preach. And I don't think it's any different to anything that you do in the process of how you create your wealth for yourself. Wealth and health is the business you're basically into, right? And obviously you've taken the health creation and extrapolated to wealth creation. And the way you have gone about it speaks volumes.
Thank you.
Right? Wonderful family. You're very active socially. I see a lot of social causes that I think Lauren is in. I remember seeing a few posts about her. And everyone's about something in your life, in your family, which is awesome because everyone stands for something, right?
Service to others.
Service
just
to
want
others,
to be helpful
exactly.
to others.
Absolutely. And more importantly, the way you have passed it down to the next generation, the importance, not just about realty, but about just financial well-being, if I may say so.
Yes.
And how it's important to join the dots. Okay.
It provides comfort and freedom.
Comfort and freedom. Absolutely. Knowing that your financial well-being is in place provides comfort and freedom. And for someone who's been here in the country for 20 plus years?
26 years.
26 years. Wow.
I know.
That's beautiful.
I don't think we're leaving.
No, amen. Quarter of a century. Let's put it that way, right? And counting.
Yes.
26 years and counting.
Yes.
Jennifer Chalouhi, it has been a pleasure and a privilege. Absolutely
Same here,
all
Dee.
mine. Thank you so much for
much.
coming. Great vibe, great energy. God bless you. And thanks for being on the Luxbridge International Show.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
My pleasure.
Thank you.